Hi friends. So we read Itzi Shelu and saw what kind of home Little Wolf lived in, but Native Americans all across America made their homes or their shelters out of different materials based on what they had. So here are two books about the types of homes that Native Americans built, and these are houses of wood. Why do you think they built their homes of wood? This is their landscape, and look at all those hills just covered in woodland, trees, large trees. They, of course, made their homes near water because that was their source. They didn't have it piped in through pipes underground and connected to taps in their homes. So they'd have to have their home near some kind of water source. Everyone needs water. So first, they made cut down trees and made big planks out of the wood. Then they worked together to build huge longhouses where many families would live. It took the whole village to build these homes. Here's some different types of roofs. They generally had a chimney so that they could, or someplace where the smoke can escape so it's not too smoky inside. And they oftentimes carved totem poles or painted totem poles and did lots of decorations on the outside. So those are some wood homes. And some Native Americans lived on the plains where it was very flat and not many trees grew. So they would get some wood, but there were plenty of animals to hunt. So that then they would use the skin or the leather from animals to cover in sort of a triangular or cone-shaped shelter. And they called them teepees. And many times they'd form all their teepees in a circle so that they can all see each other from their front doors or from the outside of their teepee. They also decorated their teepees. What do you think that's supposed to represent? Maybe some deer or another kind of hoofed animal? And they could also take the animal skin off and take the sticks, cluster the sticks together, and they could move to where there was better weather or more herds of deer around. And this is what the inside might look like. They always had the doorway facing the sunrise, the east, so that light could come in and they'd know it's morning. They also slept on beds and pillows, and they'd store those along the side of their teepees so that they could all sit and gather and eat. And then some homes were made of both earth and wood. So if you recall, this is Little Wolf's shelter or home, and it looks like it was wood and mud, and then this looks like dried grasses. Maybe they call that thatch. They're bundles tied together, and when it's very compact, the rain can't get through. Now here in New England, if you recall this picture, and remember what we talked about in the fall, here is a wigwam of the type of shelter the Native Americans here in New England built. And they would use wood because we have plenty of wood around here. But remember those cattails? Do you remember how they'd cut those cattail leaves? That's right, they cut them with a shell. And then they would use the leaves to weave mats for sleeping on, to sit on when they were outdoors and indoors, and they used the mats to cover the frame, the wood frame of their wigwams. So, friends, I thought it would be fun to make a scene like this. And we're going to include 3 important things. You can add even more, but I want you to make a wigwam. Maybe it will be out of cattail, dried cattails, which you can find outside. Or maybe it will be made of pieces of birch bark, if you find some of that outside. Or if you have some leather, you could use that. But if you can't find those materials, you could use some regular leaves or some other kind of dried grasses. So that's one thing. Families needed shelter. They also needed water. So we're going to draw some water in, and to cook their food and to stay warm, they had to have a fire. So let's get started on our Native American scene. You're going to start with a piece of cardboard. This is just a piece of cardboard from a box that I had. And you're going to need some glue and a brush. So I just have regular school glue in a little cup and a brush. And I'm going to make a plan. My Native American scene is going to have a shelter made of cattails leaves. So I'm going to start with lots of glue. And remember how I said it needed a frame? I'm going to start with a frame shaped sort of like this half circle. It takes a lot of glue to hold those sticks. So I have some sticks here. I'm going to put those on the glue. And remember, it's not going to stick right away because the glue is wet. So there's my frame. Now I'm going to add some cattails. And I'm not going to weave my cattails. I'm just going to glue them on. And you can either tear them to the size you want, or you can get out your shell again if you have a shell. And press really hard to cut and tear that cattail. It is easier now in the spring that the cattails are dried. I bet there's new growth coming in now too that is green. It's much stiffer and probably very thin and narrow, but I'm using some dried cattails. And I'm lining them up as if I were weaving. And I'm going to leave a little opening right there so that we can get in. Then I think I'll make a fire. Now, fires were very important, and mine's going to be over here in this area. They use the fires for staying warm and for cooking. And I'm going to start with a big puddle of glue, and I'm going to use some stones to circle my fire so that the fire doesn't spread to the teepee or the wigwam, and so that the Native American family can cook right on the hot stones, because stones are conductors and they hold, that means they hold in the heat. So if the fire's on the inside and the stones are on the outside, the stones will get very warm and they'll keep the fire from spreading. Now we need a source for our wood, so I'm going to break some small sticks into logs. Oh, I can't even break that one, it was so strong. And I'm going to put those inside for my fire. So now I have something that will burn safely so that my Native Americans can cook. I'm going to add a little bit more glue on top of those stones so that I can add some fire. Now we made fire in the fall, pretend fire, out of tissue paper. Remember that? So if you have tissue paper, you can tear it up and crunch it up. And it kind of looks like a little flame. So I'm going to put that in there. I had some red tissue paper, and I have a little scrap of yellow construction paper. That also will work. Just going to crush it up a little bit so it looks like a flame. So there's my fire. Ooh, it's going to keep my Native American family warm. I think I'll make another little cattail mat so that they can sit and work. Maybe they'll work over here and grind some corn. Or maybe someone will work on some tools. So there's a little cattail mat. So I have my shelter, I have my fire, I need water. The family has to have water for cleaning, for drinking, for eating, or for cooking. So I'm going to add a stream, probably running alongside over here. I could even draw some fish in the stream. Now I'm using craypas because I have them from my art set. You might have craypas, but you could also use crayon, or if you rather paint. I'm going to make a little sand bank here. And a little pathway to the door. And because we have so many trees here in New England, I'm going to add some trees. I might even add some sticks, or I might even get some pine boughs and glue those in my picture. There's so many things you can do. I'm going to add some more trees, some different size trees, all in the background. Over here and over here. Oh, there's some plants that grow along the shore. In fact, there's even some cattails. Remember how to draw the cattails? Those are fun. Make some long leaves. And then a long straight line. And the brown hot dog shape at the top. So now I have a cattail growing near the water. And let's see, what kind of day would it be? I think in my picture, it's going to be a nice sunny day, sort of like it is today. So I'm going to add some sunshine up here and maybe even some bright blue sky. So there's my Native American scene. I've got my shelter, a wigwam, I have a fire, and I have water. All really important things that Native American families needed. Here's another one I did another time. This one is made with birch bark and wood frame. There's my fire. There's the water source. I even have some cattails in that picture. But that shelter is made with birch bark. And so is this one. A friend made this one. And look, on their birch bark teepee, they even drew some Native American symbols. So friends, Have fun making your scene, and I can't wait to see what you do.